Humans have been eating seafood for hundreds of thousands of years, but when exactly was fishing invented? Because it was invented somehow, and lakes and rivers as reliable food source might seem obvious to us now, but I'm sure you would think otherwise if you were one of the early humans and had no other tools but your hands. Believe it or not, Homo sapiens, humans, were not really the first fishermen though. Homo erectus was the first human species to engage in the crudest form of fishing. Dating back to 700,000 years ago, they caught freshwater fish without the use of tools. This barehanded method of fishing was unproductive and was likely practiced only a few times per year, probably in the dry season when mammals were underweight, malnourished, and fish were left stranded in shallow waters. But still, this primitive method of fishing did provide early humans with a decent source of fat and protein during the frequent droughts which occurred in their home region of Africa. 500,000 years ago, the invention of spears had led to a new type of fishing. Spearfishing is not to be confused with modern harpooning though. The tool was an ordinary long stick with a sharp end. Poking fish with sticks was probably not the best way to feed an entire tribe of 50 people, but it did open a more consistent way of utilizing shallow lakes and rivers for not just drinking water, but this time also food. The problem with prehistory and looking this far back is lack of evidence for details. The intricacies of their fishing methods might forever be unknown. It's also hard to say why, for the next 300,000 years, fishing has played such a small role in early humans' way of life. 400,000 years ago was also when anatomically modern humans began dominating Africa, the only continent with a human population at the time. With their big brains, dexterous hands, and complex social structures, humans were on a path to change fishing drastically. Big changes did not start to occur until around 70,000 years ago. This was when Earth's climate had begun reaching the peak period of the Ice Age, and Africa was going through an increasingly cooler weather in the north, and an ever-worsening drought in the south. The combination of these two changes has resulted in a steep decline of Africa's vegetation. The situation was dire and humans were pressured to innovate at a much faster rate than ever before. It was during these moments that humans invented sea travel, warm clothing, bows, and more sophisticated methods of fishing. The earliest evidence for harpoon fishing was dated back to 70,000 years ago, which is around the time humans began crafting smaller and more specialized tools. The harpoon was a simple long spear with a specialized bone tip, barbed so that larger and faster fish can no longer escape once pierced. This simple advancement, as well as most likely some type of bait, has allowed humans to hunt huge freshwater African catfish which were commonly 1.5 meters in length and weighed 60 kilograms. That is enough to feed 70 people for an entire 2 days. They also fished for Nile perch, which grew even larger. Measuring 2 meters long, they weighed up to 150 kilograms, which is enough to feed an entire tribe for close to 5 days. Around 50,000 years ago, humans invented canoes. A canoe of this type would look like an ordinary large log with a human-sized hole burned into it. They were primarily used for sea travel, but were probably also used for deep lake harpoon fishing. It has also been claimed that early Australians 40,000 years ago have been using stone fish traps. They were a complex network of stones arranged to form ponds and channels that catch fish as they travel downstream. These fish traps are often called the oldest man-made structures in the world, and some of them, although displaced, still stand to this day. 35,000 years ago, the combination of sea travel as well as harpooning has led to a new type of fishing that proves ancient humans' maritime skills to be incredibly advanced. They engage in deep sea fishing, an incredibly difficult but extremely rewarding pursuit. It is clear to archaeologists that humans of those times were experts at catching fish that are even challenging today. Tuna, for example, is one of the hardest fighting fish in the world. It can be as large as 4 meters long and can weigh up to 900 kilograms. It has also been found that amongst tuna, sharks and rays were also a regular catch for these ancient fishermen. Even the smaller species of tuna are extremely fast and fierce, so how they managed to catch them without hooks or nets is a huge mystery to us today. They clearly used some form of bait, smaller fish or tethered logs could work, but evidence for such techniques dating back to 35,000 years ago might never be discovered. With the invention of hooks 30,000 years ago, we are now getting to more conventional ways of fishing. Angling. Some of the first hooks were found in Australia. They were made of shellfish, bones or bird beaks. This could very well be the earliest form of angling. A stone, a fiber rope and a big bone hook. With some bait and a boat, the mystery of how they caught the bluefin tuna is now starting to fade, since angling is known to be a very effective way to catch all types of fish. In a completely different part of the world, in South Korea, stone sinkers were discovered. Dating back to 29,000 years ago, they are more than likely a direct evidence for the existence and use of nets for fishing. Ancient fishermen almost 29,000 years ago would have used stone sinkers to hold nets deep underwater, forming fish traps, one of the most effective types of fishing even today. This type of fishing has allowed some of the ancient humans to catch very nutritious fish like tuna en masse. But the widespread use of nets has not been proven until at least 10,000 years ago. So far it's been made clear that fishing over the past hundreds of thousands of years has gone through numerous changes. The invention of new Stone Age tools has been fueling this rapid advancement of utilizing bodies of water for food. From grasping small fish in shallow lakes to pulling nets full of giants such as tuna, sharks and rays, humans have gone from nomadic, starving tribes of 50 people to prosperous villages of 500. And while fishing didn't directly lead to this monumental change in human behavior from nomads to settlers, it certainly played a huge role. Today, fish not only constitutes 20% of an average person's food consumption, but also fishing is enjoyed as a fun activity and a sport recognized all around the world.